What would some sound or music-inspired Pokemon look like for a Brazil-inspired Pokemon region? Brazil is known for its passion and dedication to the arts of various mediums, especially music, with contributions such as samba or bossa nova and plenty other iconic sounds and instruments at the center of its vibrant culture. So, since the majority of sound-type moves or Pokemon are usually represented through the normal typing, I decided to take some musical inspiration in coming up with a lot of the normal-type Pokemon for my Brazil-inspired Fakemon region, the tropical Zonhe region, home to hypothetical games Pokemon Push and Pokemon Pull. So, while there will be plenty of normal types found in the Zonhe region, many of which I'll introduce later on, some of which I've even already revealed, such as the intentionally unremarkable yet adorable guinea pig-inspired Route 1 normal type, Cavarach, or its oddball chimera of an evolution, Ganique, inspired by a variety of Brazilian species, or the Nurse Shark-inspired Nurtureef, helping nurse joy in Pokemon centers across the Zonhe region with its gentle bites and healing saliva, as well as its ginormous evolution Infirmareef, inspired by the whale shark, acting as the ambulance of the seas, swallowing up smaller Pokemon such as schools of Luvdisc to either protect or heal them from within its massive mouth. But this video might as well be a concert, as music-themed Pokemon will be taking center stage. I'd like to start this video off by introducing a Zonhe Pokemon teased in my last Water-type inspired Zonhe video, Zonhenian Percushell. Its name being a play on percussion and shell like the shells turtles have. It's a Water-type variant of one of my own Fakemon from my first African-inspired region, the Loika region. Originally inspired by the African spurred tortoise and Djembe drums, as music plays a prominent part throughout all of Africa's countries, but this variant, however, gains the water typing in addition to its sound-inspired normal typing, now being inspired by the sea turtles found throughout Brazil, as well as Brazilian samba drums used to make the iconic Brazilian sound, as samba music has played a prominent role throughout Brazilian culture, and is recognized worldwide. This variant also has some subtle homage to the colors found in Brazil's flag, but brightened up to fit the Zonhe region's colorful aesthetics, with more wavy patterns found on its body to help represent its water typing. Zonhenian Percushell still evolves into Tortempo, which looks drastically different than its Loecan counterpart, but carries over the same typing and concepts as its pre-evolution, being inspired by sea turtles and samba drums. This Pokemon also maintains the signature ability of its Loecan counterparts, Drum Solo, turning all sound-based moves into physical moves, as this Pokemon is a physical attacker, so moves like Boom Burst will hit that much harder, in addition to water-type moves like Liquidation and Flip Turn. Like the sea turtles found in Brazil, these regional variants can be found throughout the Zonhe region's waters, in its gorgeous coral reef area surrounding the underwater city of Sea Reef, and even along the various beautiful beaches found all over the Zonhe region. And much like Brazil, there are plenty. So encountering or catching either of these Pokemon should be no problem. The original Percushell and Tortempo was brought to life by the talented Fungusmon, but I worked with Brazilian artist Kai Fakemon to breathe new life into these cuties in a way only a true Brazilian could. So make sure to check out Kai's Instagram, as he not only has his own Brazil-inspired Fakemon region, but a new region inspired by Mexico as well. Zonhenian Tortempo is actually the ace Pokemon of the normal-type gym leader found in the hilly and festive coastal city of Salvista, inspired by the historic city of Salvador in Brazil, known for various popular attractions such as its theaters, churches, beaches, and the various festivals and celebrations that liven up its hilly streets, such as Carnival. And being the first capital of Brazil dating back to the 1500s, Salvador is a melting pot of both European and African culture, which is exactly why it's the location of the Normal-Type gym leader, who may look familiar to a lot of you, as he's the twin brother of my African-inspired Loika region's Normal-Type gym leader, Djembe. As like his brother, he's named after a drum associated with the music of his culture, in this case being the Samba drum. Samba has the same jolly, bright spirit and love for music as his brother Djembe, but is more relaxed than his brother, and quite the party animal, causing him to usually run late for his gym challenges or performances, as he is often staying out late partying till sunrise. Although his Pokemon team is also similar to his brother's, with his ace once again being the regional variant of his brother's ace Pokemon, Tortempo. Another thing Samba has in common with his brother is the fact that he is a version-exclusive gym leader found exclusively in Pokemon Push, much how Djembe is found exclusively in Pokemon Order. With his Pokemon Gym being a historic theater where various live musical performances are put on in addition to the musical gym battles that take place on stage featuring several sound-based normal-type Pokemon. And in Pokemon Pull, the same exact gym/theater will double as the stage of the Dark-type gym leader who has Thespossum as his ace Pokemon, as he is, well, a famous actor, and puts on plays and other live theatrical performances in the same space. You'll have to wait a little bit to see this gym leader, as he's not ready to emerge from the shadows, but he is just as dramatic as his ace Pokemon. And you've already encountered his ancestor in my Pokemon Legends LMH project. Now back to Samba. Both Samba and Djembe were drawn by the talented artist, my good friend, trainer_Mats, as I use him to work on most of my character designs, as he's just one of the most reliable artists I work with, and we just work so well together. Next up, I'd like to feature another Pokemon I've been teasing for quite some time now, the cross-gen evolution of the chatty parrot Pokemon Chatot, using the new Skystone introduced in the Zonhe region, the operatic Operrott, a play on opera and parrot, obviously, maintaining Chatot's normal flying typing, and a lot of its design as it's inspired by parrots, as Brazil is, well, full of them. In this case, the macaw, but the blue and yellow one in contrast to the scarlet macaw, the starter Pokemon Mbeak and its evolutions are inspired by. But it takes the musical inspirations of Chatot even further by taking slight inspiration from the lyra bird found in Australia, with long flowing plumage inspired by sheet music to expand upon the music note elements already present in Chatot's design. After evolving from Chatot, it also gains a new ability I created for my previous Fakemon regions, Swan Song, which powers up sound-based moves in a pinch, including a move I made up, Harmonize, which allows it to match the attack of the foe's last two move, but with stab thanks to its adorable typing. And fun story, this evolution was initially created as a ride Pokemon for my Pokemon Legends LMH project years ago, as various parrot species can also be found throughout Africa as well, but after coming up with the idea for the Skystone and various flying type evolutions, I came to the conclusion that this Pokemon was a much better fit for Zonhe, as its colorful design and artsy musical inspirations just fit Zonhe's creative themes and aesthetics perfectly. This line was brought to life by another insanely talented Brazilian artist, one of my all-time favorites, who I've been working with for years and absolutely love, Djembe, who has created a wide variety of amazing Fakemon of his own, including some inspired by Brazil. So please make sure to go give him a follow over on Instagram as well. Anyways, let's move on to the next Pokemon, the cuddly Cuboom, with its name being a play on kaboom, as well as a mix of cub and boom. It's an electric normal type inspired by bear cubs, in this case being the spectacled bear or Andean bear, found throughout the Andes Mountains in South America, as I chose to incorporate them into the Zonhe region as they are found in various countries in South America, neighboring Brazil, and I wanted an organic way to introduce a tundra area and more ice types into the Zonhe region. So, if you're curious to learn more, make sure to check out my ice-type centered video, as I cover this in great detail, and introduce a lot of the other Pokemon found in this area. And it's important to note Pokemon regions have a couple Pokemon paying homage to either neighboring countries or other countries with shared history, so I wanted to branch out and do the same with a couple of the Pokemon found in Zonhe as well. Which is why a handful of Zonhe Pokemon will take inspiration from a couple neighboring countries in South America or Africa due to their shared history, as well as Japan because Brazil has a massive Japanese population. But that being said, a lot of these outside concepts will be mixed with Brazilian wildlife as well, and about 90% of the Zonhe Pokédex is linked directly to Brazil, as that was obviously my main inspiration for this region. And if we're being honest, only about 50% of any Pokédex ever really correlates with its respective regions, wildlife, or culture in real life, and that's being generous. So I'm personally trying to branch out a little bit in my own Fakemon regions, as I feel like it makes the region feel a little bit more authentic. Now, the inspiration for its electric typing came from the kooky yellow patterns found on the Spectacled Bear, as it reminded me of electricity and lightning, whereas the normal typing is once again sound related, as I decided to take inspiration from boomboxes, as they were once, and arguably still are, a prominent part of Brazilian culture, as many Brazilians would carry them around on their shoulder, or take them to the beach to enjoy their favorite tunes. So this Pokemon's electric typing is also a reference to radio waves, as the citizens of Zonhe carry this cute Pokemon around on their shoulders in the same manner as it tunes into the frequencies of their favorite radio stations, blasting their favorite songs through the speakers on its head, with plenty of Pokemon like Hitmontop dancing along. Cuboom evolves into Bearreo, which is a lot bigger and more intimidating than its youngling, with its name being a play on bear and stereo, with the same electric typing inspired by the patterns on the Spectacled Bear, and speaker inspiration as its pre-evolution, but now with some DJ elements added into its design, like its large paws now acting not only as speakers, but now also resembling a DJ's deck or soundboard. This powerful Pokemon packs quite the punch, as it's a mixed attacker with moves like Overdrive, Shockwave, Thunder Punch, Screech, Disarming Voice, and of course, Boom Burst on its playlist. So if you'd like to add this Pokemon to your team in the Zonhe region, you'll be able to find it within the various caves and mountainous areas of the Zonhe region, including the previously mentioned tundra area, loosely inspired by the Andes Mountains. And I say loosely because, believe it or not, there are areas in Brazil that occasionally get snow, especially in the more elevated and mountainous areas like this. I commissioned the talented artist Tubbs to draw this line. His art style is just so glossy and smooth, which is exactly why I've been using him so much for the Zonhe region, because it really exemplifies that bright and colorful vibe I'm going for with all these designs. Okay, next up is Bug Normal-Type Pokemon, Spitar. Spitar make webs in treetops, serenading anyone who will listen with their soothing melodies. This Pokemon's name is a play on spider and guitar, as it is inspired by the Brazilian armed, or also known as the Brazilian wandering, spider. It gives tarantula vibes, which I absolutely love, so I just had to make a Pokemon based on it, and decided to take inspiration from a Brazilian string instrument, which is pretty much just a Brazilian guitar, as I felt the webbing would make for the strings of the guitar, and since spiders have plenty of legs, it could easily use to strum its string-like webbing and play music. Although if you look closely, it only has 6 legs versus the 8 legs real spiders have, as a nod to the fact most spider Pokemon usually only have 6 legs. It evolves into Cavarach, its name now being a mix of the musical instrument that inspired it, and Arachnid. Cavarach is more of a special attacker, using moves like Bug Buzz, Electro Web, but has high enough stats to perform physical moves as well, such as Bug Bite. But if I'm being honest, it's even more of a defensive mon, with lots of tactical status moves, like Spiderweb or Perish Song in its moveset. Like its pre-evolution, it is found throughout the Amazon rainforest and Atlantic forest inspired areas of the region, but can also be spotted serenading wild Pokemon within the grassland or farm areas of the region as a nod to the history behind its musical inspiration. Cavarach really encapsulates its concept quite perfectly, thanks once again to artist Fungus Fakemon, as he really just knows how to infuse all of his drawings with loads of personality and depth. Who am I kidding? Unless you live under a rock, most of you, especially those familiar with my Fakemon projects, probably already know who he is, but if not, you're welcome. Last but certainly not least, we have my personal favorite of this batch of Pokemon, also brought to life by Fungusmon, the normal dragon type Keygu. Keygu use their long reptilian tongues to play the piano key teeth found within its mouth. The profound and masterful melodies produced by this musical prodigy of a Pokemon are said to astound many of the world's greatest musicians. Now, like all the other normal types in this video, its normal typing is a reference to sound and music, but its dragon typing comes from its reptilian inspirations and exaggerated dragon-like size, as it's much larger than the lizard it's inspired by, being the Keygu lizard found throughout South America. Mainly the Argentine black and white Keygu, which can be found throughout Brazil. Their beautiful black and white colored scales reminded me of piano keys for whatever reason, so I decided to lean into that while coming up with its name and concept, which just lends itself perfectly to the artistic themes found in a lot of the region's Pokemon and characters. Its gold claws are also meant to resemble the piano pedals found at the base of pianos used to change the sound emitted from the piano by adjusting the hammers and dampers. Now, while extremely rare, Keygu can be found all over the Zonhe region in areas such as its grasslands, wetlands, tropical rainforests, and desert areas, but be warned, in addition to being hard to come by, it's also quite difficult to capture, so make sure to be prepared with plenty of Pokeballs. And despite not evolving, this single-stage Pokemon can hold its own in battle, especially as its hidden ability, Pitch Perfect, gives priority to sound-based moves, and Keygu is able to maximize this ability as it is capable of mastering many sound-based moves, especially those of the normal typing, amplifying them even further with Stab. In addition to plenty of Dragon-type moves, such as Dragon Pulse, making use of its high-pitched special attack stats. This piano-inspired Pokemon can also be found on Gym Leader Samba's orchestral-inspired Pokemon team, along with Cavarach on guitar, and his ace Zonhenian Tortempo on drums. So let me know in the comments below if you'd like to add a Keygu or any of these normal-type sound-inspired Pokemon to your team in the Zonhe region. What your favorite Pokemon introduced in this video was, what your favorite Zonhe Pokemon or your Pokemon team in the Zonhe region would be so far, and of course what you thought of the video. Your enthusiasm and feedback is always appreciated. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to hit that like button, and of course subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And of course, please make sure to go follow and support all the amazing artists I commission to bring my ideas to life, so I can take you on these wild journeys through my imagination. All their information will be in the bio down below. As usual, thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned as my next video will finally reveal the final stages of the Zonhe region starter trio.